The question is, will we get home from work before the snow starts to arrive? We'll time out how much we're expecting for tomorrow morning's commute. Karen?
Also first at 4, shock and sadness over the death of a popular hairstylist. We are tracking the investigation into his violent death at a local motel. Paula.
This is a fascinating model, and we're talking about free help to get your taxes done. But here's the caveat. They're teenagers. They're students who are doing taxes. I'm going to take you inside this interesting program.
Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon, I'm Karen Drew. First at 4, here we go again. Snowstorm moving into the area, and many of you will see a few inches before it's over and done. Let's get right over to Ben Bailey to see who will get hit first and how this is all going to play out.
Yeah, Karen, it looks like it's moving a little bit faster than it actually is. You can see as it goes over these radar sites, these little donuts start to appear because a lot of this moisture is not reaching the ground initially, and that includes here in northern parts of Indiana and Ohio. So it still looks like it's going to be a lot closer to about 6 or 7 o'clock before we get there. This is a closer in view of just the radar site here in northern Indiana, and you can see again a lot of this stuff not reaching the ground just yet. Got to go down here almost to Anderson, Indianapolis before that snow is actually falling. As we speak, though, we're expecting the snow showers to develop probably around 6, 7 o'clock here in the south zone. Timing looks very similar. Model's trying to put a little bit of a mix down there initially, but I think that's going to be quickly turning to snow. Watch how far north this gets. It looks like a lot of this stuff is going to stop at M59 during the evening hours. This is the first round that exits. Then we're looking at another that's coming in overnight, and that's what's going to add even more accumulation as we head to tomorrow morning. Temperatures slowly falling to 32 by midnight. That's actually going to be our high for tomorrow. We'll look at how much snow we're expecting and the Arctic blast that's coming in on its heels. You can track the whole thing in the Local Forecasters app, free in your app store by searching WDIV. Karen?
All right, we appreciate it. Thank you, Ben. In other news this afternoon, the murder of this well-known hairstylist has shocked family and friends and customers all around Metro Detroit. A lot of people knew Bashar Calabet. The 56-year-old was found dead this morning at the Jay-Z Motel and Suites on Detroit's east side. Police say he checked in around 6 o'clock last night and paid for another man's ride to the motel. Project Greenlight cameras captured that man leaving the room hours later. This morning, the motel manager says he got a call from an employee that something was wrong.
Seen the door that was left open, and the lights were on. So he tried to close the door. While he was closing the door, he seen a body that was on the floor.
Police have arrested the 24-year-old they believe was with Calabet. No word on what charges he might face. Meantime, the hairstylist's ex-wife released a statement that reads in part, "We want all to know he was so loved, impacted so many lives, and was such a successful stylist and creative soul. We just can't believe he is gone." Michigan State ready to hire a new football coach. This is the guy, Mel Tucker, currently coaching at the University of Colorado. He's agreed in principle to take over the Spartans after the surprising retirement of Mark D'Antonio. Now, the Board of Regents must sign off on the deal, and they are set to meet in an hour. We're already talking to students about the new hire, and we will be in East Lansing for the board meeting. Continuing coverage tonight at 5. Now let's move to Decision 2020. New Hampshire voters made their choice last night, shaking up the Democratic race for president. Some candidates rising to the top, others giving up, and 2 big names now looking for comebacks. Let's bring in Kimberly Gill. She is in the newsroom. And Kim, Michigan voters might want to get a scorecard to track exactly who's left.
Karen, you're right. Good afternoon to you. The once crowded Democratic field is starting to slim down as we start the long, complicated primary process. Here's a look at today's headlines. New this afternoon, former Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick has ended his 2020 campaign. He was the last African-American in the field. He follows Andrew Yang and Michael Bennet, who dropped out overnight. And the winners so far include Senator Bernie Sanders, who finished first in New Hampshire, and former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg, who was close behind and actually has the most delegates right now, while Minnesota's Amy Klobuchar finished third as she pushed toward the top of the field. So the results in New Hampshire leave former Vice President Joe Biden trying to recapture the mantle of front runner, if you will. He didn't get any delegates in New Hampshire, but he says only 2 states have voted, and he's moving on to Nevada and South Carolina. Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren is in a similar position. Both have underperformed so far, making the next few weeks actually critical for both candidates. Now, the Nevada caucuses are 10 days away, followed by the South Carolina primary, which is on February 29th. So, Karen, those states have more diverse populations than both Iowa and New Hampshire. And this is just getting started, so we'll continue to follow it. For now, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, Kim, thank you. A long road ahead. New battle lines are being drawn over the sentencing of President Trump's ally, Roger Stone. Stone was convicted of lying to Congress. 4 prosecutors have now resigned over a Justice Department decision to backtrack on a sentencing guideline of 7 to 9 years. The Justice Department says the decision came before a presidential tweet attacking the recommendation. The Senate's top Democrat is calling for investigations.
Left to his own devices, President Trump would turn America into a banana republic, where the dictator can do whatever he wants, and the Justice Department is the president's personal law firm.
I got real concerns about overzealous prosecution more than anything else. If you haven't learned in the last 2 years, some people are just going overboard. You're missing a lot here.
All right, so in the end, the judge will have the final say. Stone is set to be sentenced next week. Also, Attorney General William Barr has just agreed to testify before the House Judiciary Committee, where he will face questions about the Stone sentencing. Well, there is a slight reason to be hopeful about the worldwide coronavirus crisis. China says the number of new cases has dropped for the 2nd day in a row. But the World Health Organization says it's still way too early to predict the beginning of the end for the outbreak. 39 new cases have been reported on that quarantine cruise ship, the Diamond Princess, and the number of cases overall has reached more than 45,000. Taxes and teenagers, those are 2 words that might not seem to go together, but some students in Detroit are ready, willing, and very able to offer help with tax preparation. The program is new to the Motor City. Our Paula Tutman takes a look at their training and who stands to benefit.
Okay, so full disclosure, I mean, this is intimidating to a lot of people, tax time. And I had some concerns. I mean, I asked the question to every one of these students. Would you really trust a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old, or a 17-year-old to actually do these taxes? Rashard is just 15 years old. He's in the 10th grade. He's only been able to work legally for 1 year and still needs a work permit to do that. Yet, he is an IRS certified tax preparer. Are you nervous at all? Mm-mm. So you really, complete confidence that you can do this right? Mm-hmm. Students at 2 Detroit high schools, Southeastern and Martin Luther King, have participated in a program where they have been carefully trained by the Accounting Aid Society.
The taxable income tells us which tax bracket they're in, right? Yes. Which then gives us what? The tax liability.
At this young age, they can sit you down, plug in your info into tax software, guide you through a questionnaire, and do basic taxes. They understand deductions, can handle multiple W-2s from multiple sources of income, and can even guide you through dependents, and if it makes more sense, to file as a head of household or married filing separately.
With those, it's different deductions that you get from your taxes.
So these are all IRS certifications. They have actually had 4 weeks of training. They are past prepared to do tax returns.
Never guessing when we doing taxes. If we don't know the answer, we'll ask. Because we don't want to put anything that's not correct. That's on there, so no guessing when it comes to doing people taxes.
We have so many Metro Detroiters that leave tax money on the table. This way we're putting it back into, like I said, our community's pockets.
They can do basic 1040 stuff, but not complex advanced taxes.
Advanced stuff is like military stuff or like businesses, like that stuff that's like way out of our league.
And they are acutely aware that a lot of people will be reluctant to let a 15, 16, or 17-year-old into the sensitive, private, and very serious business of dealing with Uncle Sam.
I can understand that people might not trust a teenager because they might think we're too silly to do it. They might think we're not serious to do it, so they might not trust us when they first come.
The money is what? Thank you.
But if they do come to us, they'll see that we have the mindset and we are serious about what we do.
Okay, so I cannot raise my hand because I am not smarter than a 15-year-old. clearly, when it comes to doing taxes, there's some particulars. You cannot just walk in and do this. You have to register. It is free for families that have an income of $56,000 or less. You don't have to be from Detroit. You can be from anywhere in the metro area, or if you can see me, you can have this done if you reach that threshold. And don't forget all of your tax forms, including your W-2s. Karen.
All right, Paula, I got a couple questions. So first, are the teens paid for this? And then what about privacy? I know you touched on that, but you know, how are you guaranteed that this is a safe place, or do they have to sign documents, or how does that all work?
Okay, so 2 answers, and they are being paid $9.50 an hour, which means by next year they'll be able to do their own income taxes. And they also take special courses. They're certified by the IRS, including an ethics certification, and they do have adult oversight. So hopefully I've answered those questions for you.
You sure did. We appreciate it. Great program. Thank you, Paula. Still ahead, first at 4, new mental health assistance for young people. We're going to talk about the social media app that might reach them where they live. Also, the debate over married priests in the Catholic Church, why some bishops say they need married men to serve, and the response from the Vatican this afternoon. Up first, you might call it a bad behavior alert, how one airline is stepping up its response to passengers who cross the line. This story right after the break.